Sasha's fairy friend. It was late in the afternoon on the island of New Florida, and the trains were being really useful on the tracks as always. Sasha was pulling the express. It was a nice fairy tale for her, because she's a really useful engine at pulling the express. That's what makes her the best unit indeed. Because she likes pulling passengers and freight every day. That's what makes her the best engine ever. The engines enjoy doing work on the tracks, because they mind their work very well as they're being really useful. Sasha was shunting freight cars in the yard. She moved the wagons into place. Mr. Cakester arrived. Your train has limited service today, said Mr. Cakester. I want you to collect it at Union Station. I'm on it, sir, Sasha said. And she puffed off to collect the express. The passengers were boarding, and the roomettes and bedrooms were in the rear. And at last, the train was ready to go. I hope there's a fairy tale today, Sasha said, and then she steamed into the circuit. Her wheels shunted the rails and she steamed over. Meanwhile, Carla was pulling a train of nuclear supplies. It was very dangerous, and she was being extra careful. The train was very long. And the freight cars were hazardous. She was bringing them to Oakwood. Here comes Sasha's hill, said Carla. But she did speak too soon. Her drawbar broke. And then the train and her tender rolled away. It was unattended and Carla's tender drawbar was broken. It rolled through the desert at high speed. the brake van was in the way and Sasha was approaching with her express. Express coming through, she said, and then she applied her brakes, and it was too late! The nuclear stuff exploded, making the whole town evacuate, and then everything stopped. Luckily, no one was hurt, but Sasha had turned onto her side and she was being eaten by the freight cars. "Sorry about this," she said. And then an Amtrak train locomotive came, and it moved the coaches out of the way. Then Carla's drawbar was fixed. I'll bring you to the... Then Dwee came over to collect the passengers. "I'll have everyone delivered in no time," said Dwee. "All aboard!" And she steamed off to Grondonia Klaborianis, while Alexia helped the workwomen and men clean up the mess. "I enjoy pulling the express," puffed Dwee, "'cause I'm a really useful engine." She loved the desert. The desert cottontail lives in the desert too, folks, because they're cute bunnies. The passengers were having their dinner in the dining car. And it was nice and cozy. And Dwee turned on her lamp and she puffed through the night. And then the coaches clattered along the tracks. Cozy after Dwee had gone to bed. "I'll be back on the line tomorrow," Sasha said. And then the engines were already asleep. "I miss Sasha a lot," said Becky. "I do too," whispered Dwee sadly. "She'll be here tomorrow, I suppose," said Katie. And then a ghost engine arrived. It was Ghost Sasha. "Hello," she said. "It's me, Sasha. You miss me a lot. You're dreaming about me. I've got a story to tell you." She said, "Let me listen to your story. A long time ago, a freight train derailed after hitting a truck. The diesel locomotive derailed and came off the tracks. After it derailed, a substitute locomotive picked up the rolling stock and brought it to its destination safely. That's how it was really useful. Oh, good night, all my friends. the engines were asleep. Until they looked up in the sky. The stars were twinkling and the moon was shining bright, and then dark clouds rolled in. And then rain began to fall. The engines were tucked away for the night. And the storm rampaged non-stop. Lightning flashed and thunder crashed. Well, the rain fell heavily to the ground.
Listen to the storm, whispered Dwee sleepily. Isn't it wonderful?
The next morning, after the storm had passed, Mr. Cake started a job for Lucina. Sasha's engine parts arrived, he said. You must collect them.
I'm really on it, sir.
And then Lucina buffered up to the rolling stock. It's time for Sasha to get back to work, said Lucina. And she steamed off in short hood forward. The next day, Sasha was repaired and ready for the express.
I'm happy to have you back, said Dwee.
Thanks, Dwee, said Sasha. I'm happy to be back too.
And you are,
puffed Dwee. And everyone smiled happily.